Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going over Glimmora and Glimmora EX. I love this thing. It is one of my favorite decks that I've put together. I think this is a really fun deck. It is not supposed to be the meme that everybody thinks it is. It is also not supposed to be the meta killer that I wish it could be, but it does mess with the meta, and that's a pretty good thing. Make sure you stay tuned until the end of the video, because I do an in-depth analysis on what I would change, what I wouldn't change, whether this is cup, challenge, regional worthy of a deck, and some of my just general thoughts about the deck after playing it for a couple hours. But let's go ahead and get into the deck itself. We've got the Glimmet with the attack Ascension for fighting energy. Search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon and evolve it. This is awesome. This deck wants to go second because of this attack and because of this attack only. And I do love the Baby Glimmora with its Shattering Crystal ability. If this Pokemon is knocked out, go ahead and flip a coin. If heads, your opponent cannot take any prize cards from this Pokemon, which is really nice because we've got Togekiss running around in the format. We've got stuff like Luxurious Cape, not in this, but stay tuned until the end. But Luxurious Cape adding another prize card, and this says you can't take any prize cards from this Pokemon. So this also stops, that's right, you heard it first, this also stops Iron Hands EX from taking extra prize cards. I love this thing. It does have the attack Poison Petals for fighting energy. Your opponent's Pokemon is now poisoned, and during Pokemon Checkup, put 6 damage counters on that Pokemon instead of 1. Oh gee, now we're doing 6 damage, we're poisoning. When they come back to our turn, if they don't switch, now they've got 120 damage on it for 1 energy, and they might not be taking any prize cards. This is really fun. This is exciting. This card can frustrate people. And you know what also frustrates people? Glimmora EX. With its Dust Field ability, your opponent cannot have more than 3 Pokemon on their bench. It doesn't matter if they're allowed to have more, like with, say, something like Area Zero. They are only allowed to have 3 Pokemon on their bench. If for some reason they have multiple, or you have multiple different things that limit their ability to have bench space, you use the lower number. That is their bench space allowed. It does have the attack Poisonous Gem. For fighting and fighting, it does 140, which isn't a lot, but your opponent's Pokemon is now poisoned. And we've got a lot of poison in this deck. We've got a lot of ways to manipulate poison in this deck, so 140 plus more isn't that bad, honestly. We do run the Pecharunt EX. With its Subjugating Chains ability, you can move a dark Pokemon from the bench to the active. If you do that, it is now poisoned, but you cannot use more than 1 Subjugating Chains ability per turn. It's okay, we've only got the one, we don't want to put multiples down, and we do run the Baby Pecharunt with its Toxic Subjugation ability. If this Pokemon is in the active and your opponent's Pokemon is poisoned, put 5 more damage counters on that Pokemon in between turns. Basically during Pokemon Checkup, which is actually pretty decent, because if we've got Glimmora, that's already 6, Pecharunt adds 5 more. It does not make it 5, it adds 5 more. So now we're putting 11 down in between turns. We do run the Baby Bloodmoon Ursaluna because I think it pairs well because we're using fighting energy. With its Battle Hardened ability, when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto the bench, you are allowed to attach 2 fighting energy to it from your hand. It's energy acceleration on top of itself. Plus, it has a fantastic attack in Mad Bite. Fighting colorless, it does 100, but it also does 30 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon. And lastly, we do run the Brute Bonnet with its Toxic Powder ability. As long as this Pokemon has an Ancient Booster energy attached to it, we can go ahead and make both active Pokemon poisoned. We do run a pretty large, honestly, a pretty large array of supporters, but as with all decks going into the new meta, this is an Arven deck. 4 Arven are in here. Search your deck for an item and a tool card and put them in your hand. We do run 3 Judge because not only am I going to disrupt you with the Glimmora EX, not only am I going to disrupt you by not allowing you to have prize cards, with Judge I'm not going to allow you to have any cards that you want. We do run the boss, which is always awesome. It's gusting. Bring up one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and put it in the active. I love this thing. Professor's Research. Ditch your hand and draw 7. It's just draw support, and we do need draw support in this. Another draw support card in this is Iris's Fighting Spirit. You have to discard a card in order to use this, but if you do, you can draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. This could help out a lot, especially if we're using it with only 2 cards in hand. Ditch the 1, draw 6. And lastly, we do run the Colress' Tenacity, because we have a couple of very important stadiums. What Colress says is, search your deck for a stadium and an energy card, and put them in your hand. Now, those very important stadiums are as such. Perilous Jungle. Non-dark type poisoned Pokemon take 2 more damage counters in between turns. Last, but I promise certainly not least, we have the Neutralization Zone Stadium. Prevent all damage done to Pokemon without a rule box, both yours and your opponent's, from Pokemon EX and V. You cannot put this card back into your hand or deck from the discard. And honestly, I completely see why. Anyway, that's the deck list. Let's go ahead and get into it and see how we do. At least that's the idea. Maybe Victory and his 27 different accounts can try it out, test it out. Okay, this is actually a decent hand, especially if we go second. Okay, we're going first. That doesn't help us terribly much, but we can get the Glimmets going. Don't hate a whole bunch of this, but let's look and see what's in here. Ursaluna's, Brute Bonnet, Pecharunt. Damn, it only has 80. We do have 2 Glimmoras, and it looks like 1 Glimmora EX is prized. Let's look. 8 fighting energy, so I'm not too terribly worried about this. I don't want to get the other Glimmet. At least in this case, we should be okay. We've got all of our Pokemon, it would seem, except for our Glimmora EX. So that means we've got a couple of different things out there. We'll see what this Pokégear gets us. It could get us the Arven. We do run some Earthen Vessels, but we also might want to do the Judge here. That's something else we could do. Judge, depending on how many cards they have in hand. Going against Raging Bolt. We could actually mess with them a little bit, believe it or not. But things will be determined. Judges will help out with that a lot. We have 3 Judges, so Judge will help out with that a lot. We do have the Colress Tenacity. That will also potentially help. There's some things we could do here that could really mess with them. Getting a whole bunch of hoo-hoots or knockdowns in his hand, and that's gonna suck for him because guess what we've got sitting on the bench? Well, not technically the bench, but sitting in our hand. That's right, we've got the Judge. Give me a fighting energy. We do not get the fighting energy. We get the Pecharunt. That's okay, because we will go ahead. I don't hate it. Let's go ahead and Judge. Okay, we got some TM Devos. Not a whole lot of stuff that I like here, but we can get some other stuff moving. I don't like that. Let's get our Brute. We can get our Brute. With that, we should be okay. Okay, gets a knockdown off of the Judge. If it was going to happen, it was going to happen. I wasn't too worried about it. Most of our stuff at one point will be either a 1 prize or a 0 prize, which could really help us out depending on how many energy they get rid of off of the Raging Bolts. Okay, got some more stuff down. Let's see what we're going to get here. Brings up the Brute Bonnet. We're actually not terribly worried about that. It does need to use 2. So he'll get rid of the grass and he'll get rid of this grass off of the Teal Mask, would be my guess. 1 down, 1 down. Yep. Well, we can hit this Glimmet, and we'll be okay. We didn't get anything here, that's okay. You know what we got? Nothing. What we can do, what we want to do, don't mind doing here, is hitting the Ascension and getting a Glimmora. Because there's a chance. There's a chance he gets nothing off of it. Because you should just have to go to PTCG, go to the website. And they get no prize cards off it. Limit down. Okay, we've got the Jet Energy. Let's Night Stretcher here and get our Brute Bonnet going. Brute Bonnet down. We can Arven. There should be a link. Go to the website, PTCG Live, and it should say download for Windows. We can get the Ancient Booster, and we can get... Let's get a Super Rod. Ancient Booster down. Let's go ahead and Toxic Powder here. Nest Ball, I like that. Get Super Rod here. Get that Glimmet. Get that Energy. Get that Glimmet. Yeah, get them all. Why not? We can go ahead and Pecharunt here. Pretty happy with all of this. And we can go ahead. Yeah, we can go ahead and end our turn. Okay, we've got the Glimmora. We can go ahead and attach here. We can switch into the Glimmora. And we can go ahead and put down 6 damage counters in between turns. Now they might not be able to get what they want out of it. Remember, if something gets KO'd in between turns from damage like poison or burn, it does not activate Pheasantipity. Does it give up the prize card is the question. It does not. He does not pull any prize cards off of that. That happens. We're already putting 6 in between turns because of the effect. The Pecharunt puts another 6 down, or another 5 down. Taking 2 prize cards. It happened in between turns, so it does not hurt us. That is a good question to ask the group. On the group Discord. That would probably be a better option there. Okay. What do we want here? You know what we can do? We can do another Super Rod because I would love to get Glimmet, Glimmora, and a Pecharunt back into the rotation. We can do... Let's get... Let's get an Ultra Ball. And we can get the Team Devo. Ultra Ball here, we can get rid of this. We can get rid of the Jet Energy. That should be fine. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a Glimmora. Attach. Evolve. We can go ahead and Toxic Powder here. And we can end our turn. Okay, another Glimmet down. I like that. We can then go ahead and Colress Tenacity here. Let's get the Perilous Jungle. And let's get an Energy. We can go ahead Perilous Jungle. We're going to have to get rid of some stuff here. We're going to make him get rid of some stuff. Okay, got rid of Latias, Squawk, and a Hoot Hoot. Or it looked like, no, the Knockdown. Which I don't think was a bad idea. We can go ahead and throw that there. And we can go ahead and Toxic Powder. And I think we'll go ahead and end our turn. Remember, it's getting knocked out by damage counters, which is happening in between turns, so Pheasantipity is not active. And he will go ahead and concede. I think that was a good idea. Those are your words, not mine. I think I'm still pretty retarded. But Psycho was one of the few people that really helped me understand this game on a completely different level. So, Psycho, if you want to join, you would be a wealth of knowledge in that Discord, and I would really appreciate you being in there. Okay, this is not great. But, okay. Okay, there's something there. There's something here. There's something here. By something, I mean, God, I hope I'm going second. I am not. Okay. We'll throw that down. unfortunately, we're going to do it this way. We can get rid of this. Get that down. We'll throw that there. What do we get here? We get an Arven. That'll help us out next turn, I think. That'll have to be it. I help by throwing jank in the deck and then explaining. So I did enjoy that conversation. I do like your idea for Hop and Iono Wattrel. I do like it. There's something there, I think. I think there's something there. I'm not... I didn't build it. Not on TCG Live yet. But I think there's something there. I do think there's something there. Okay, a Pikachu comes down. Okay. Okay. Not nearly as good as you think. Could do this. To get an Ultra Ball. I guess we can get that. That should be fine. Ultra Ball down. We can get rid of one of those. We can get rid of that. I think that's fine. We're not going to use that nearly as much as you think. Yeah, we'll throw that down. Throw that there. Throw that there. We do this. Okay. Hang on. Yes, we are taking damage, but with his bench incredibly brought down, like just shrank down, it's going to be hard for him to keep things moving and moving. Even if he does say something like a trolley here, he's putting down 2 Pokemon. Like, I am not worried about the things that are happening here. Gives us 2 extra cards. That really helps out here. Okay, a Crushing Hammer could hurt us. Doesn't hurt us. We'll be alright. What we can do here, attach. That doesn't hurt us all, actually. We can throw this. We can get rid of this and this. We can hold on. Let me look. Inspect the board. Okay. I don't mind this. Looking at it, we've got 1 Glimmet. I'll want to hold on to that. Glimmora here is fine. And then we can go ahead and judge. Okay. We don't have a way of really poisoning anything right this second, so we'll just poison this gem and take out this knockout. Having a limited bench like that really does hurt. Which is what I love about Glimmora EX. Even though Frostlass does put us technically on a timer, I think we're being alright. It also probably helps that he didn't get anything out of it. We can throw that there. I don't mind getting rid of the Pecharunt, or getting rid of it all anyway, so we can get rid of this. We can go ahead and Glimmora. You know what? I don't mind Glimmora EX. We can drop that there. Let's research. We'll just take the knockout. Don't play that in that matchup. Do not play the Neutralization Zone in that matchup. And there you go. Baby Glimmora and Glimmora EX. I love this deck. It is one of my favorite decks. It's just fun to see people get frustrated, especially somebody like a Raging Bolt player that just uses all their resources and can't get them back, and there's nothing they can do about it. I adore this deck. As you saw, we can really put some hurting on some people. And with that Glimmora EX ability, I don't care that you have an Area 0. You can't have more than 3, and if you do have more than 3, you got to discard until you only have 3, which means I could be getting rid of a lot of your support Pokemon, and I think that's awesome. Now, would I take this to a cup or a challenge? Me personally, yes. I love this deck. I've played a lot with this deck. I play with it at locals all the time. I would absolutely play with this at a cup or a challenge. Should you? Probably not. Not unless you're pretty decent at some aspects of control. Now, could we go in depth and go deeper into the control aspect of this? Probably. What would I change in this? I would try to find room for a luxurious cape. Make it so that your Glimmoras kind of live a little bit longer. I think that's pretty important, honestly. I would probably take a Iris's Fighting Spirit. I would just take it out. I don't think we need it. We could do more with just a Judge, honestly, or do more with an Iono, honestly. Other than that, I don't know that I would change a whole lot. Maybe we could, I don't know, potentially try to find room, like I said, for the luxurious capes. That's pretty decent. But I don't know that I would change a ton in order to do that. Maybe the one Pecharunt is almost not necessary when we're running so many jet energies. So maybe the Pecharunt EX can come out, and that's another card that gets saved, and we can turn that into another control aspect card. So there you go. Again, would I take this to a cup or a challenge? Me, yes. You, probably not. Should I take this to regional? No, not at all. Unless I'm purposely going there to have fun and just show off some of my deck skills, maybe. But this is more of a sided event deck than it is a main event deck. This is not something you take in order to win a regional. Now, I'm sure somebody like Azul or Andrew Hedrick could take something like this and absolutely dominate. Tord would win first place in every tournament he ever went to with this deck, sure. But that's a player, not the deck type situation. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe just don't take this to something high skilled or high level. Anyway, if you would, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and do all these. Continue to help me do this. You guys have been fantastic. I can't thank you guys enough. And with that, have fun, stay safe. I love you.